We have some social media questions for you, Tyler.
All right.
The kids with their
Kids
snowshoe-sized
with their thumbs and the whole thing, right?
Vlad Popescu, which I believe was the last pope, on Facebook. Did you ever get to hang out with Uecker?
Yes, I saw him last year in St. Louis when they were about to clinch, and I've seen him a few other times. I mean, God, I love. Who doesn't love Bob Uecker, right? But what strikes me about Uecker is that first of all, he still looks amazing. Like you can tell that he was, for all the jokes, you can tell he's a former athlete. He's a very athletic build, and those Brewers players love him. You know, because he's one of them. Like he never forgot that he's a former player. And again, for all the jokes, this is a guy who had a home run off Sandy Koufax, and you know back before expansion, he was in the big leagues. So you know he knew his stuff, and the reverence they have for him is really cool to see.
How did you get started? You like I said, you've ascended to a great gig here over there with, well, listen, Red Smith, I guess a little later in life, shows up at the Times, Dave Anderson, George Vesey. It's Cooperstown of writing. How'd you get the gig, man? Tell me about that.
Well, yeah, you know, just when I was a kid, I used to read the Philadelphia Inquirer. Jason Stark was a writer who's just got the Hall of Fame award, in fact, and Jason really inspired me. I thought, this guy looks like he's having a lot of fun with what he does. I was pretty good in my writing classes, and I love baseball, so I'm like, well, writing plus baseball writing, let's try. Started just doing articles with a friend of mine in the back of class, you know, and weren't paying attention.
Moxie, 15, right?
Stapled it together, made a little baseball magazine. My dad had been in the Army Reserves with David Montgomery, the late Dave Montgomery, who was at the time an executive VP with the Phillies. He put in a good word with the PR staff, said, let's give this kid a field pass, see how he does. I interviewed a pitcher named Pat Combs in 1990. That went well. Phillies kept giving me a little more credentials. And by the time I'm a junior in high school, they said, look, you're asking for so many credentials. Here's a season pass. Just come whenever you want. So I could go down to the vet as soon as I could drive. I was driving down there all the time. I got hooked and went to Vanderbilt and started writing down there.
You got your license and a season pass in the same calendar year?
16 years old, 1991. It was pretty good. And if the Phillies, all those Dykstra, Dalton, Kruk, if they were tough guys, I could go over to the visiting side and talk to the Giants or the Padres, Tony Gwynn every year. So yeah, it was a kind of a dream teenagehood right there.
Jason Giroux, for a Philly boy, the great Claude Giroux from Philly. Jason Giroux on the Larry King Now blog. Who would you consider the best pitcher of all time? Might know this. I'm sure you're going to say Carlton, I guess.
Well, it's my favorite, but I think the greatest ever, I still think it's Walter Johnson. You know, I mean, Walter, Big Train.
What's the final count on his wins?
I think he had 417, I want to say. You know, he's the only one in the 400s because Grover, Cleveland Alexander, and Mathewson were at 373.
I always get those three morphed into one
guy.
Right,
yeah, right. So, no, but relative to his peers and his time, I think it's Walter Johnson. I mean, he had the strikeout record from when he retired until 1983 when Steve Carlton held it, and then Nolan Ryan ever since. So
nothing came from that early in the century to 1983.
Right, you know? So you look at all these guys, the 3,000 Strikeout Club, it's all the color pictures, and Walter Johnson's still back there. You know, I mean, he was striking out guys, and strikeouts connote dominance, and he didn't sacrifice anything on the innings front either. He was always going out there. So I'd probably say Walter Johnson.
Never miss a beat. Subscribe to Larry King Now and watch new episodes every day.